What is going on, guys? It is Aero here, and today we have my boy, my son has returned. This is the Jaguar XKR-S GT. This was my competition car all the way through Forza 6, and it is back finally in Forza 7. You can get it through the specialty dealer. I didn't end up getting it the day it came out. I wanted to have like a really low number, but then realized who gives a shit. Just quick before we get into it, I probably won't be uploading as much Forza, just because if they don't care about the game, then why should I? But I figured this was a unique opportunity to maybe make a bit of a longer episode, because I have an idea. So what is on this car right now is the exact same tune. I ported it right over from Forza 6. It is my most recent setup. I believe it's for Catalunya. That was the last round that either the last round or the last round I could make. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that setup and we're going to try it in Forza 6 or Forza 7 without changing anything. And then I'm going to make the car competition legal, because I think it's too heavy to run the tire it's on right now. I think I have to go down to 305s in the back. We'll adjust it and see if we can get it just a good all-around baseline setup, not really specifically tuned for anywhere. So obviously the car is already built. Great shop. So as always, we'll do right to left. Conversion, there is no conversion at all in this car, I believe. Check maybe. Nope. So it's got the stock supercharger. Aero in appearance, this is the stock Aero, which is really the reason why I wanted to run this over the other Jag. I can try the other Jag maybe one day and just drive them back to back and see how they compare. But we're on sport tires, obviously, because that is the only tire allowed to run in ESDA now. So this car comes stock with a 305, but I upgraded to 315 because it was legal at the time. It also has, what is it? I have two 65s on the front, and I'm running 1552 Formula something or other, Formula 3-piece, I think it's called. 3-piece Formula TR, so probably stands for something. And that's in the multi-piece rim division. I have kept the stock 20-inch wheels front and back because dubs. Drivetrain and platform and handling is all race. I believe the weight is race as well. Yes, it is. We may have to have a play. I might have a play with the weight another time. But right now, we're just going to leave it the way it is. And engine, I have a lot of power in this car. You don't need as much power in this game, so I imagine us taking power down. So that's race, stock, because it takes out weight. So we can put the sport exhaust on now if we want, because I changed the wheels. I had NK something or others, but I like these wheels more. So sport cams, and race these, and sport these, and stock these, and sport supercharger, and race intercooler just to get some weight on the car. It was exactly 3,300 pounds in Forza 6. Race oil and cooling, and then a race flywheel. And as for the tune, I don't think I've ever released the tune, but this was my Catalunya setup. So 31, 26, gearing. There's my gears. Alignment, we had negative 2.1 in the front and a little bit of positive in the back, just because when the car squats, it gets a degrip. 0.2 and then negative 0.4 and then 6.2 for caster. Anti-wheel bars, we were 16.11 and then 15.31 in the rear. We had 4.4 in the front, 4.2 in the rear. 724.4 in the back, 791.4 in the front. 7.4, 6.7, 7.6, 6.6. And then the diff was at 98 and then 90. And then the brakes, I had 86%, which is where this car is where I started running a softer brake pressure. But yeah, we're going to go to probably my favorite track to run in competitive, which is Road Atlanta. We're going to use that as our testing grounds for this vehicle. I don't know why I said vehicle and not fail race. Hey, but we're going to use Road Atlanta here to test this car and see what's what. All right. I'm actually eager to see how it sounds. Listen closely. Sound just as good as Forza 6 or better? Sounds a lot like the Jag race car act, but I'm really eager to see how this car does. Understeer for days. My tuning setups have changed a little bit, I guess. Not a huge difference in between the way I used to tune and the way I tune now. And I know what you're thinking, maybe, oh my god, Aero, you have those two really nice paints that you made videos for. Where are those? I couldn't find them. Curtis said he uploaded them, and I looked. I searched his gamer tag. I searched keywords that he might have used. Couldn't find them, so I don't know if he just hasn't shared them yet, or there was some sort of issue. But I have talked to him, so hopefully by the time this video comes out, both the OMG Drift and the King Nobody paint will be out. Follow me on Twitter. I'll keep you guys posted. But anyway, here's the section. Let's see how this car does. I'm very eager to see. That was all me. I just overshot. I'm a bad kid. El Terrible. Alright. Stable boy, as it always was. Forest is still there when I need it. If anything, I feel like this is better than what it was. It just feels way more stable. Again, this is not competitive legal anymore. I will have to go down to a 305 tire or bring the weight up to 3,500 pounds. And I don't know if there's a way to do that without swapping in the V12, which I am not doing. So, I might be sacrilegious enough to take the Ferrari V8 out of the Maserati Forza edition, but I am not heckin' doing it in this car. This V8 sounds so nice. So yeah, I definitely think it has a little bit too much power. In this game, I feel like I don't need half as much horsepower as I did in previous Forzas. And the front end responds a little slowly, but that's kind of normal. This is not a setup for this track. I do have setups for all the old ESDA tracks, but I felt like this was the best one. Also, this was tuned on tires and fuel damage, so it might feel a little bit different when there's no tire wear. Backies. All right. So right now, the only thing I'm noticing is it's very slow to respond in the front, but I did have it set up for a different track. But I'm happy to report it feels pretty similar to how my Jag felt in Forza 6. You know, just smooth, fun to drive. All around a pretty good car. I'm gonna take one more run here, and then we're gonna try to make it legal for ESDA. I don't know if this is the car I'm gonna run yet. I would like to, but if it's just not realistic, then I do have the S14 Zenki waiting in the wings. And of course, you are only allowed to run one car this year. You can't switch whenever you want, so I want to go with the car I'm fully confident in, but I'm just really, really happy. I thought that maybe this car would feel like shit or something would be wrong. But that is the setup. I'm going to post this shisa up right now so you guys can use it to your... Oh, no. So you can use this to your heart's content. Again, I haven't touched it. This was the most recent build. So we'll save it as old ESDA drift, because people are dumb and won't know what ESDA means if they're just searching, and I want those juicy downloads. I usually do drift, and then for the second keyword, I kind of try to make it realistic. Usually it's either speed or handling. So this one I think is a really good handling car. A little tricky, but because it's heavier, but so I put good for handling. And then I put keywords that you would know me as, so MrAeroHD. Aerotech is basically what all my social media is, Instagram, whatever. And then Garage Emotion is not something you guys need to know about yet. So that is shared. And now I go to the fun part of making this car legal. So right now, this car weighs 3,327 pounds. With the tire width moved down to a 305 instead of a 315. So we're losing 10 millimeters of tire. I think I'm going to leave the 265s up front. I'm going to have different versions of this car. I'll have one that's pretty generic, and then I'm obviously going to have some... I want to buy like at least one more, but these are really friggin' expensive for some reason. They're 500,000 credits. So I'm not expecting you guys to go out there and buy one of these and tune it yourself. Okie dokie. So what we're going to do here is we don't need to touch drivetrain, platform, and handling. What I was going to think about doing was trying to make the car 3,500 pounds. But if you put sport weight in, you have to basically... Well, we'll try. I don't think it's going to work, but you'll have to make the car 200 pounds lighter. Yeah, so it's still 150 pounds too heavy. You want to make it... I try to make my cars as close to the weight rule. And if you guys want to build the ESDA cars, want to do it yourself, their website is esportsdrift.com, and I'll link the rulebook in the description as well. Just, I think it's section 11.3 is the, it shows the banned cars, and it shows how to build, like, the build restrictions. So engine, so here's where things are going to change. I obviously don't think we need as much power, so I'm going to try to drop a bit of weight with the intercooler. So we're at 3,009 pounds. Where else could we save some weight? I might try to put on cams and take off other things, but we'll see. So we'll take these off. And what's that leave us at? 685. So you can always go up in power during the season, but we went from 730 to 685, and I think that's a good start. In terms of tune, I'm gonna raise the tire pressure. I'm gonna actually leave the tire pressure the way it is. Gears are fine. That's all fine. I'm gonna stiffen the rear a little bit because I think there's too much of a gap between the two, and I'm gonna lower that just a smidge. And I think I'm gonna do that, and I think that's I'm happy with that. So I'm gonna see how this car compares to our last one. All right, we're on track here. Just one more change to the setup. I want to make it transition a bit quicker, so I'm gonna put a little bit more front caster, and then that should make us good to go. So like I said, I brought the power down and the weight down a little bit. So we're, I don't know, I can't do math. I'm not good at quick maths, so we'll see how this handles. Only thing I'm worried about right now is the front tire. Oh boy. Oh boy, Jesus. That's different. I didn't think a tire size would change a car that dramatically, but I borked it into that line real bad. Okay, okay, okay. That felt terrible. That felt no good at all. I'm gonna back to the tune, and then so right now I'm just gonna change things back to a couple things back to the way they were, just to remove any outliers. I'm gonna bring that down. Let's try this again. My life is hell. Existence is pain. Alright. It swings aggressive, but it feels heavier, if that makes sense. The last setup didn't feel heavy. This feels heavy. So just for the purposes of balance, I'm going to try and removing that front tire. I think it's too wide, just for the balance of the car. I could try to make it wider and even out grip, but I don't know. I know some cars run like that and they run fine. I just don't like it. So we're going to go from a 265 to a 255, which is actually a really weird number. So 255, and then we'll go back to test drive, and I'll see you guys at the top of the hill. All right. So all I did was change the front tire size. Welcome to tuning, guys. It's really just trying one thing, see if it works, if it doesn't. Trying another thing, see if it works, if it doesn't. You have to rule out what you're driving. Oh, that's 100 times better. That is 100 times better. Yes. Spicy delish. Spicy delish. Back end's a little nervous. My son has returned, and he is glorious as ever. That feels very similar to the first setup, actually. Just made it better. Better. For those who get that reference, I love you. Even though it's very niche and you probably won't. It feels very similar to the first one. So, try to get some grip back in that rear end of mine. This rear end of mine, I'm going to let it shine. That wasn't even how the song sounds. Not even a little bit. Alright. Slower entry. Very slow entry. Tires off, but fuck it! Stay in it. Run that outer line. Inner line. Little e-brake there to settle the car. Fourth could be a little bit tighter here, but I know it's good around other sections, so I'm not going to do it quite yet. We're also going to try this somewhere else. Yeah, I thought this car would take a lot more work, especially when I realized it wasn't going to be legal. It's going to be a real dogfight between this and the S14 to see what I'd rather run, because I've been running weird cars for forever, and I was kind of psyched to run the S14, but ain't nothing wrong with the Jag. I'm just going to have to drive them both a lot and see which one I like better. Oh, that was... I thought I was going to snap oversteer there, and the weight was like, no son, do not worry. So there is a perk for running a heavier car, as everything kind of happens slower. You know, if you guys... Obviously, you can't play it in this game, rest in peace, Toyota. But if you play Forza 6 and you use it at 886, and those things weigh basically nothing, you'll notice that everything happens really fast. So sometimes you, like, get ahead of yourself. That's why I tell people, like, oh, when I start, I want an 886, right? I was like, well, like, yes and no. It's not going to be your easiest starter car, but it is going to, like, prep you for other cars. Like, this car is a bit easier to drive because everything is happening at, like, 75% speed to a light car. The con is that I have to run a shit ton of horsepower to keep up with those lighter guys, and it's sometimes, I just too much foot brake. And sometimes that still doesn't work. So really, it depends on whether you want to make your car a little bit more comfortable, easier to drive, bigger rear tire, or you want to have like the potential to be faster and transition quicker and basically have a higher threshold for cooler drifts. I hate saying the word drifts. It makes me sound like an uneducated fuck. Come on, car, come on, car, come on, car, up the hill. Good boy. That's a good Jaguar. That's a good British car. He's a good boy. I still haven't decided if this is grill, like what gender my Jaguar is. We'll go for one more run here, just see if I can give it a little bit more send on that first corner. This setup is pretty dialed already. I'm going to try it on one more track. I'm going to try it on Indy. Say Indy was probably my other favorite ESDA track. And it kind of loops, so... I was shit coming up the hill and we over-rotated there for some reason. Tires are starting to get hot. That's something I never thought I had to take into account, you know, because my brain doesn't really... I'm going to take one more. My brain doesn't really work that way. I never thought I'd have to, like, actually think of tire heat, but when you look and, like, your PSI is up at 40, especially if you're doing tuning a car for full track drifting, when you're doing your second or third lap of full track drifting, I'm sure your rear PSI is going to be silly hot. So maybe just let the car sit for a bit. Pressure came down like 4 pounds. Fuck it! Right about here, you can start throwing it in. Could have went a little bit wider there. But yeah, this car is as good as it's ever been. I'm sure there's better cars out there, but it's not like... This is probably the first Forza game where I don't change mains. Forza 2, I was a A86. Forza 3, I was a R34. Forza 4, I was a XB Falcon. Forza 5, we don't talk about. And Forza 6, I was this. So I kind of wanted to change main cars, but we might just stick with the Jag, or at least have it in our back pocket for other competitions and whatnot. I don't know. We're really going to have to see. I'm not 100% decided yet, but I am going to go to a different track, and we're going to go to Indy. I was going to go to Rio, which I'm sure you guys are like, go to Rio, it's so much better, but like, it's not an ESDA track, so I figure it's a little bit better if I go to a track that's actually in ESDA. So, un momento, por favor. Indianapolis kind of holds a special place in my heart, too. I think this is where we got the most practice. I think this was one of the first times we made it into Pro 1 out of Pro 2. I forget what the actual... We made it into the... out of the open bracket, I think was the way of saying it, because there was... You had to battle the way out of your open bracket, and then you got to go into the Pro bracket. I think Indy was probably one of my best performances as a driver, so... I feel super stoked to be back here in my Jag. Again, I don't really remember the entry points, so I'm just gonna fucking guess. Enter too early, but that's fine. Again, I haven't changed the setup at all. This is still a Road Atlanta setup, and you can maybe tweak things a little bit. Nope, actually it feels pretty fucking good. That was a little bit better. A little bit better. Foot brake to... Oh, that was a pretty cool looking transition. Honestly, I think taking power out made the car better. Because now I can just... It probably is not as fast as it used to be. But if I just kick the clutch and hold her wide, like it's just... I'm smiling like an idiot right now. I'm just so happy this car is good. However, we're going to have a showdown between the S14 and the Jag. It's going to involve speed, how comfortable I am to drive the car. If you guys want to see that in a video, I'm more than happy to do that. But it's going to be a long one. I'll probably a half hour, 45 minutes, maybe even an hour long. And I might not even get be able to decide what I want to do out of that, but... That was cool. So a big problem I had in the Jag was whenever I made mistakes, it was really hard to rectify them. I'm just changing the gearing here. Whenever I made a little mistake, it was really hard to rectify that mistake. So in that, I mean, let's say I over-rotate, or, you know, I throw too much angle, or not enough angle, I enter too early. In the Jag, for me, it was really hard to fix that. But when it worked, like when I got the run right, oh boy, golly Jesus, did it work right. So that was the trade-off. I feel like, at least with this setup right now, driving this car, that problem doesn't exist anymore. So I think this car can still go full send, as in still do some cool shit. However, I think it can adjust if I go too hot boy. At least that's what the vibe I'm getting right now. I had probably 45 hours in tuning in the Jag in Forza 6, so I was hoping it would stick there and it didn't. Rip. I'm just trying to focus on my line, really. I don't really care about big angle under fucking steer, my guy. And if it looks so naked with no design on it, I had a street car design that was a British Racing green, or whatever green this is, a dark forest green base, that I'm probably going to work on either on stream or right after this video is done. I'm just really psyched for this car to be back. Alright, throttle control. That's a good boy. Brake and e-brake there. I'm pretty sure I locked up all four wheels just to get it to not slide out wide. Again, can go a little bit more on the angle, but where I'm focusing my effort is to making sure I got the line right. When you're learning a section, I want to make sure my line's good, and as soon as I can do like 4 or 5 runs, almost exactly the same every time, then I'll worry about throwing more angle or going faster or pushing harder. For me, line is the most important thing in drifting, because you can throw sick angle, but if you're offline, you look like a bitch. But if you hit all your clipping points, 2 tires off, let's ignore that. If you hit all your clipping points and you get low angle and like decent speed, you're still going to get a decent score in qualifying. But if you get high angle but you're offline, in my opinion, every judge is different, but in my opinion, that looks way worse. You look like such more of a dummy. You look like an idiot if you're offline. If you drive like a Vagine and just don't get lots of angle, then you just kind of look like you're playing safe, which is 2 different things. One looks like you don't have the skill, one looks like you're not trying to use it. So in qualifying, at least my first run, I try not to go full send. I'm not sure if I like the engine sound more than Forza 6, but it still sounds nice. Shit! Too much throttle. Too much throttle. Too much throttle. Just need a little bit more here, grip. Just a little bit more. Just a hint. So I'll go down to 25.5. Take a half pound out of my back boys. Let those cool down. And then we're going to take probably our final run. And go. A little bit of grass there. Come on, car. Come on, car. Come on, car. Stay in it. Stay in it. Stay in it. Thank you. And then a little bit of e-brake there. Transition slowly. And then when I feel safe, then you throw the angle on. I could have kept the angle more, but guys, this car is about as it's better and worse than what it was in Forza 6, if that makes any kind of sense. At least to me right now in this moment. It's better in the sense that I think it's a little bit easier to drive, but it's worse, and I think that it has a little bit more difficulty chucking really hard, as in like big angle, big entries. But I still love it. It's still probably one of the best cars, in my opinion, that I've driven in the game so far. But thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you guys want to see any other videos that based on the JAG or my ESDA exploits. Not much we can do on ESDA right now because we're just kind of waiting for that update that's probably never going to come because Forza doesn't give a shit about its players. But we're still playing it anyway because we are the girlfriend in an abusive relationship, and we just keep going back and back and keep getting punched in the fucking mouth, and we know better, but we're doing it anyway. But thank you guys very much for watching. My name is Aero. This is our beautiful wife, and I have decided it is now my wife. Geeb sex. Geeb. But thank you guys very much for watching. See you in the next one. Peace.